we started after our first CD was released. So we did get together to do this recording, having had a few years when we were students in Rotterdam time to develop our repertoire, but really not thinking that the duo would be something we would keep doing as a serious thing. So after the CD was released, we got very good critics, and we were thinking, oh my god, if we don't put so much effort into this and this is what the audience are reacting, so maybe we should take it serious and see what happens. And we felt like,
I don't know why she's saying we didn't put serious effort. I thought that we did put a serious effort.
But we weren't thinking that this was going to be, what we would be doing so seriously 15 years later. So that's true. So 1999, you can say that was our beginning, serious
Even
beginning.
though you were playing together during school before that.
Yeah. We did play together, but it was sporadic, little bit here, little bit. We did play in some festivals in the late 90s in Europe, in the Aix-en-Provence festival and everything. But it was not really in our hearts, like, okay, we're gonna be doing this the rest of our lives.
It wasn't the idea of as we were going through the school, we are developing a duo. The duo happened and just evolved through the years after that.
It was just, slowly warming up, setting up with my amplification, trying the hole, trying the lights. And, what happened this morning, the room that we were warming up, it was cold. So we both felt a little bit uncomfortable, but just kept it, warming up slowly. So it's always the same ritual. Try out the hole, see the acoustics, warm up,
Figure out what the space is like.
Yeah.
When you talk about ritual, you mean like praying to some god?
Sure,
Make sure that we don't make mistakes.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
You do have your red cloth.
Yeah, I need to have a red cloth always.
Yes, I noticed. You told me I couldn't touch it, so.
No, don't touch it.
Well, if it helps you, that's important.
I remember once playing with one orchestra in Bosnia. You remember they stole it from behind the stage. And
Your
put it
scarf.
there. My scarf. And what we like about this is that the flute and guitar is not anymore just flute and guitar. We are expanding and we are entering into the chamber music world, and we are being invited to play with these combinations into the chamber music groups. And this is good for everybody, especially for guitarists who think, I want to do a solo career. Okay, you can do a solo career, but you can also do other things and expand your possibilities. And to get to the general audience, know how a wonderful guitar can sound together with the strings and with the wind instrument.
Well, through the conversation with many guitarists, in the past whatever years of my career or development, many of us have desired to expand our activity as guitarists beyond guitar world, and it's not easy. It really is not. However, what I found through the this chamber music work is that when we play, not only as a duo, but we have another ensemble together as a quartet with a cellist and violinist, is when we play, very often I get audience to come and say, oh, we want to hear a little more guitar. And that's very encouraging, when they say something like that. And in the repertoire that we play, then as I mentioned before, we asked composers to feature guitar, hopefully at the equal footing as the others. Obviously, guitar has harmonic and more of a harmonic role, that's accompanying role. But still, they put in few solos or few moments where guitar is really featured, and that strikes that sort of balance for us.
Just go with it. Yeah, it looks fine. Just align yourself. I'll do that for you after.
Yeah.
Go for it. I've got 3 full pieces and grab this.
Okay. We just want to play a little bit without.
Sure.
wouldn't say avoid mistakes. I would say make mistakes, because that's the only way to learn.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, we make
Exactly.
plenty of mistakes, and you think about it, but you know, one thing that I find that sort of brought us together, both musically and personally, is it's this. I think it's stubbornness in both of us to follow what we want to do.
Yeah.
You know, you are drawn to something and you say, you know, I want to do this, and you have many odds against you.
When
Right.
we started, one example of what Dennis just mentioned, when we started playing together in 2000, I remember colleagues of ours who studied with us in Rotterdam would come and would say, "Are you serious? A flute and guitar duo? You expect to do a life out of that?" And we were like, wow, that's encouraging. And I always thought that if composers like Rodrigo, like Denisov, like Takemitsu, like Piazzolla, like so many of them, wrote music for this combination, they believe that this can happen, it can sound nice. How do you dare to doubt that we can do it? So I still think that I need to thank those people, because thanks to them gave me the courage to say, you know what, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna prove you that flute and guitar can be a combination that people are not only going to like, but we are going to be playing outside of the guitar world and outside of the flute world. And this is not coming out of anger or coming out of love of music. And if you love something, and this is my advice to young people, if you love something, if you like something, don't let anything, anybody deter you, stop you. You just have to keep on going. And I recall hearing Sergio Assad saying, never stop until the end. Never stop focusing what you want to do. And thanks to people like him and few others that I encountered through my life as a musician until now, and I hope to have many more years to go, I have that. I need few of them. I don't need all of them. I don't need everybody believing in what I do. I still encounter presenters, our manager encounters presenters who are reluctant to have a flute and guitar duo because they never heard of that before. And they do not know the composers we are playing, you know, they do not know the repertoire. But when we go and we play honestly, and we try to do the best as we can in that moment, this is what counts, and we get invited again. And we are trying to, when you are doing something new, we are not doing something new, other people have done it before, but we are trying to open the way that has been a little bit open, and we are there expanding it a little bit. It's like paving the road. You don't know what is ahead of you. You don't have an example exactly to follow, because I don't know of many flute and guitar duos that have been doing this for as many years as we are doing it and keep on going. Some people get together, they do few projects, they leave it, they do, you know, and they are wonderful people, wonderful musicians. But to keep going, it's hard. So you don't know what is ahead of you. But I do this for the love of music. Music is my life. And I love playing with him.
Well, what is ahead of you? I'll take that as a lead and continue a little bit more and get back to this advice thing. When you say you do not know what is ahead of you, if you know what is ahead of you, then it's not really that exciting, is it? And what is ahead of you is an idea that if you think of anything that humanity has created, it was not there. It was in somebody's head as an idea that occurred, and then with persistence, you made it happen. Great Wall of China wasn't there and then being made. It's somebody's idea. So with the art is like that. Somebody is born and it just has to write or paint or do or whatever, or scientist. You are just drawn to something. So there is something to follow. That's your idea. That's your heart, and you are committed to it. And advice would be, yes, there are going to be difficulties, because if you want to do something new, if you want to follow your heart is unique. So you cannot follow anybody else's heart. You have to follow yours. So that path will be unique. If you follow other paths, that's fine too. But then your heart is into that. So you must follow your heart wherever it leads you. You must be serious. You must be dedicated. You must work very hard. You must be very, very critical of your work. You have to listen to others. You have to collaborate. You have to get feedbacks. Get as many coachings as you can. Collaborate with the colleagues. Try ideas, make mistakes, try different combinations, try different ensembles, see what works, what doesn't work. I mean, nobody will tell you this works, here's the recipe and follow.
This actually affects the sound.
If he would be playing solo, he doesn't need amplification. But playing with me, the balance is
I
better.
understand,
Yeah.
I mean, up front in the middle, the balance sounds good, but at the back, you hear more flute than the guitar.
That's because of the effect of the acoustics of the
I'm
instrument.
ready a little more.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, then. Okay. Respira y toca.
One desire came from one angle of seeing what music was available and sifting through the existing repertoire and being drawn to certain compositions. So as when I mentioned with our first CD, that was we did mixture of all original pieces for flute and guitar. And I remember at that time thinking we are going to be dedicated to original compositions. Later on we did our mind changed about it, and we developed also inclination towards our arrangements and adaptations and so on. But mainly the thing was about finding the good pieces that you are drawn to, because you can't really play something that doesn't speak to you in the first place. There's quite a bit of repertoire from the 19th century, but we always wanted a balanced role of flute and guitar in the composition and with those pieces. Not that I'm saying they are bad or anything like that. It's simply that flute has all the melody and guitar has a mainly simple accompaniment.
Having a guitarist that it's plays like a pianist. So I wanted to play much more, we both wanted to play much more substantial balanced pieces that have both. And of course there are pieces we play today that are not like that are part of projects that we did, like the Cavatina Duo, where the guitar is just a very simple accompaniment. But that was part of, as I said, part of that project that we had to do. We wanted to do it. It's also a way of just expanding the repertoire.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that CD, when you say about simple accompaniment, I think it's a simple accompaniment with a couple of pieces, maybe. But with some other pieces, not, because like with the soar, right? Variations on the themes by Mozart.
Yeah, there's some
that are
stuff.
solo guitar piece. It was adapted from solo version to guitar. Then Carnival and Venice, also combinations of two things. Then other thing is that like for example with the Freischütz, where Alan simply adapted the piano part. I mean, but there are things that when you are taking from piano from both hands into guitar, you still have to encompass quite a bit of things left hand wise in terms of to sustain the harmonic language and scope that piano
Yes,
has.
yes, you're right.
Was that at all related to the Krevanger piece on Der Freischütz? No. Or it was originally Alan did that originally?
No. It is
taken from the Tafanel. It's a Tafanel fantasy for flute and piano. Tafanel did that fantasy, and then Alan just took the piano part and adapted it to the guitar.
In that, for example, we can discuss a little more going back on the commissions, but to finish these things about adaptations and arrangements, in the case of that particular piece, he simply took the piano part and set it in guitar. Mm-hmm. And in that case, you have to eliminate certain things, or you have to make certain decisions what can work and what not. Mm-hmm. And certain things that are in piano that go very fast, like in the double voices, that in guitar you cannot do. You have to make a decision what to take out.
Yeah.
But it's not a simple part, technically speaking, to play as it, for example, with Giuliani that we have on the CD. But with other pieces, and that's what he, as our collaborator, somebody we ask for commissions and also for arrangements, and who's himself very good guitarist, very good composer, so he knows how to strike this balance, and we always ask him between flute and guitar, and giving the guitar more of a substantial
mention
role.
his name.
Alan Thomas. Going then to commissions. Commissions are sort of like how do you say, as you evolve in your trajectory as a musician, I think you start to developing more and more this voice of what are you drawn to, and you want to expand that particular area where your musical mind and your soul is venturing into. So we want to obviously to expand the repertoire that's sort of like given, but the other thing is that to become a part of the process of creating the music that has a certain personal connection. In the case of a Balkan project, it was the music from my background, from part of the world where I'm from the Balkans. I'm from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the pieces that I've listened as a boy and sang to, in the parties, and we were singing those songs. I never danced because I'm a terrible dancer. She knows, but and complexity of those rhythms. I mean, it's a beautiful folklore. It's a beautiful thing to draw from. So we selected several melodies and dances and songs, and commissioned composers to arrange them. That was the idea, that they arranged those melodies for us. But as it turns out, they have taken that as a first step to expand a little bit more, not into huge works, smaller pieces, but they turned out to be more appropriately, I would say, impressions on the theme. So it was really nice to see how the melody that comes from the Balkans, and it's given to, like, for example, Alan Thomas, how his background, how his musical mind works, and what does he come up with, and sets that melody in his.
We love playing Civic Rivi. It's one of our favorites in the entire project.
Yeah.
So I remember Dennis spent almost 2 years doing research and looking for those melodies, and it turned out that Alan had another piece in mind already that he came out with, which was Shepherd's Dream. But Civic Rivi was the one that Dennis was very enthusiastic about, and it turned out to be wonderful.
Yeah, we played it last night. The other thing by Carlos Rafael Rivera, dance from southern Serbia, Vranjanski Čoček, and you see, and also with Clarissa Assad, Sergio's daughter, and Sergio Assad being our not only a friend, a mentor, really. Who gives ideas, and who actually, we always credit him, because it's true that he inspired us and said, guys, you have to look to your background, dig into your childhood and see what you come up with that for musical projects. So what I say with these particular commissions, the thing was that they are really, you take the melodies, but every composer puts their own language on it, and that's what makes them so special for us. It's almost like taking the same ingredient, but then you end up with very different flavors of dishes, almost like a world cuisine.
So, as Dennis explained before, we did have Sergio encourage us to explore our background music, and when it came to mine, after we did the Balkan project, I remember thinking, okay, everybody knows Spain, flamenco. I don't want to go there because I'm from Valencia, from another part of Spain, and there are many more musical culture in Spain that is not flamenco. So I just wanted to go deep into the Spanish music, and one of the things that drew us to think about Sephardic music is the fact that we learned Denis's family. He had a great aunt who was a Sephardic Jew. How did we discover that was a very interesting story, which we can talk if you want or not. But also the fact that my last names were from Sephardic origin, and I was thinking, okay, this is music I never heard because Sephardic Jews were expelled from Spain, and the ones who stayed had to convert, so their culture left with them. But I want to explore because these people were here 1,500 years, and that's really a long time. And their music has been going to the countries wherever they have gone, mainly around the Mediterranean, but also they came to the Americas and they came to other parts of Europe, deep in Poland or even in Turkey or even in Russia. And they brought the music with them, and that music actually was being transformed as they were traveling with the influences of the music of those countries. So that was not pure Spanish anymore, but I still wanted to go into those melodies and to see what a composer could do with them and take the essence of those melodies and then transform it into something 21st century for this combination. And we wanted to add strings to that and to make it a little bit more substantial. So we have commissioned 4 of the 5 pieces. We did the commission, and there are 2 trios and 2 sextets. One trio with violin, alto, flute and guitar, another one with cello, flute and guitar, and 2 trios with flute and guitar and string quartet. The 5th commission came as a pure luck. So we got an invitation to play at the Austin Chamber Music Society in the Austin Classical Guitar Society. They together do a summer festival in Austin, and they have a composer in residence. And it was Joe Williams who was at the time. And he contacted us and he says, I'm going to write a piece for you. And we are like, really? Can you please write something based on Sephardic music? Because we are doing this right now. And so that's how the duo came about, because he had to write shorter piece. The piece that they had asked him to write was no longer than 6-7 minutes. And that's how Isabel came about. My future audience, yay! And I'm going to listen to your concert too. Do you want to play guitar? Very good! Very good. Thank you very much for coming to us. Thank you, and I'm sorry I scared you. Didn't mean to scare you. I was just watching your leg in my vision field, you know, in your vision. And you were doing this, and you were doing a different rhythm than my rhythm. So that was a little bit off, but it's okay. Thank you for coming. I'm very happy you came. You play an instrument?
The flute.
You play the flute? Oh my goodness! Thank you for coming.
Yes.
When did you start playing the flute?
Both a little bit.
A couple years ago.
How old are you?
Yeah, I was going to university.
11? That's great. I didn't start playing the flute until I was 15. Yeah, that's fantastic. My son plays the piano. He's 11. We do duets with him.
studied UBC.
So what did you play?
I will elaborate a little bit more on connect few things. You know, nothing of what we have done has come as a one single endeavor, that it's not connected to everything else before what we have done. So when I mentioned, you know, Sergio Assad encouraging us to look at our roots, and with the Sephardic journey, Eugenia said I wanted to explore my Spanish roots and Spanish music. And in '96, when the war ended in former Yugoslavia, when we were visiting my family and she was meeting them for the first time, one of my great aunts talked to her in Spanish. She said, I didn't know she spoke. I told her I didn't know either. It turned out it was an old form of Spanish Ladino. So that aunt that I knew, you know, all my life, whose name was Razia Prcic, which is a very Muslim name. It turns out her mother converted during the Second World War from Judaism to Islam in order to survive the occupations by the Nazis. And It turns out she told her, my real name is Matilda. So she was a Sephardic Jew. And it was an extraordinary discovery for us. And to have this connection, however it is distant, I mean, or however it's close, and then you think of these people that have carried that and they kept their language in the family for more than 500 years. And who knows through which countries did they go through their trajectory? Ended up in the Balkans, ended up in the former Yugoslavia area. And to see that, and it makes you think later on about humanity and about the different aspects of our soul and our character, that it can be so evil, but it can be also so beautiful. So to be able to celebrate or to pay an homage to human spirit that carries that endurance and beauty, to carry the culture, to carry that, to be just tiny little part and say, oh my God, this is my homage to it. It's really, really gratifying.
So it had to happen. It had to happen.
It is more than enlarging the repertoire or creating compositions. It really, makes you feel like, oh, I'm part of humanity. I'm part of this nice part of the humanity. So that's very gratifying.
What's the inspiration or any of your ideas behind the program for tonight?
Variety.
Yeah.
Variety, okay.
We always like to do variety.
You guys have a huge variety on all the CDs you've recorded. So.
Well, it's, with recording, what I mean, if recording doesn't depend only on what we want to record, but also what record house or the
right.
wants to record. So you always have to have their seal of approval for the project.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to figure out what are we going to record. So you work with them and you try with ideas. So you throw 5, 6, 7, 10 ideas at them until
they pick one.
They say,
yeah.
we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're trying to do.
But you see, we have recorded variety of things, but we haven't touched one area yet. And we are going to do that.
Touched one what, sorry?
One area.
Ah, what area is this?
Baroque.
Baroque. Oh, that's true. That's true, yeah. But you play it in your concerts?
We do play in the concerts.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
So, consulting with the record companies about what we are going to do.
So we have the ideas and we propose them the ideas, and
many are rejected until we get the one that they like.
No, but the first one that I proposed to CD Records for our next project wasn't rejected. So we are going to do a big project this time, bigger than Sephardic. We're gonna involve orchestra.
Oh.
So we are going to do a commission of a concerto based on gypsy music. So we are going to do that. Probably in that CD will also be some chamber music besides the orchestra concerto. And the other project we're going to do is a Baroque project, and we are going to release that with Bridge Records. So we're going to explore two very different things again, one more traditional and one more out of the box, like we have been doing lately. And this is these are our next projects.
Well, you're catching us off the guard.
There is one, remember, in Taiwan, not in Mexico. Okay, so we are in Taiwan, we are very jet lagged, and we are playing one concert in this huge hall, and we're on the stage, and we are playing 4 seasons of Astor Piazzolla, okay? Mm-hmm. And we start the first season, and of course the first season is summer, everybody knows that. And the second one is supposed to be what? Fall, after the summer. But because in Chicago we don't have a fall, we have a winter after the summer. I put the winter score, and he puts the fall, and we start playing, can you imagine? And I swear to you, I was like, winter comes after summer, no? I forgot about the fall, and it was very funny because there was a flutist colleague on the audience, and after he said, too long living in Chicago, you forgot there is fall.
Yeah.
And that was in Mexico.
And that was in Taiwan. You have that memory.
So, I'm going back to mention Sergio. Why? Because last Last July we were in Brazil, right? Last year.
Last year.
And unfortunately, Eugenia was very, very sick. But we were at the festival, and the last day we were there, I went to hear Assad's in concert. And I heard him playing pieces that I heard him, 20, 25 years ago.
We were in the same festival, Campus de Jordão.
Yeah.
Very nice festival.
And I heard only the first half, and I was moved to the tears of how well they played. Things that I knew, transcriptions of Albanese. It didn't matter what they played, because it was them. It was them to the pure essence of who they are. And still, that's inspiration for me. That kind of honest approach to doing something what you do, that kind of belief. And every time, we sit together with Sergio, to me, I'm like in the presence of, although he's, the most humble person
I ever met.
You can find.
Yeah.
He's very
And,
approachable.
and it's all the time, he's so active, he's doing so many things that it's always looking, up to him and always trying. It's not trying to catch up, but it's always something that you admire and you try to follow, in a sense. So follow the good examples, yes, but when you follow the good examples and you follow your heart, you still find your own way, and that's what's in my heart.
Ask somebody who is, because I don't feel I am.
It is a very good question, and I do ponder that sometimes, questioning, am I an artist? Am I a creator? Because I see people who are so way more creative than I am, that I don't want to put myself into that category. In a sense of where I feel I take a merit is that you have a piece of music that is on the paper, and it has to come to life. So there is a certain process of creativity there. But I am still amazed with the people who can, just create something out of their head, whether being writers, composers, or painters, or something like that. And you were saying artist or a creator. It is nice to create, to be part of creative process, just a part of it. And I just say, to me that's it. It's a part. I don't feel myself to be a creator or an artist. I'm just aspiring.
I would just like to add one thing, which is the only time I feel that I come close to feeling what we know as artistic, or to me the word artist has been so wrongly used that it's just when I'm on the stage and there are moments, and it doesn't happen in every concert, but in some concert it happens really, that I feel that what I'm doing transcends who I am and transcends that moment. And that I feel like it's touching some nerve inside that it doesn't happen often. That makes me feel almost into tears. And that the music I'm playing, it's really reaching inside very, very deep. And I think if I feel that, I can make somebody in the audience feel that. So that moment, I feel like there is an artistic vein in that moment. Because in my opinion, life is not some general thing that you can talk about. Life is about moments. And if you can capture that special moment and feel sometimes, then maybe you have that artistic thing. You're asking, do I have that? Sometimes. I aim for that as much as I can. I don't get it all the time. But when I do, and I have felt it sometimes already, few times in the past, I don't know how many years I'm playing, I think that is what is special,
Oh.
That's my take into this.
Oh, this is a moment for me. She really nailed it this morning.
She's got the right words. Well, thank you guys so much for agreeing to interview with us and coming to Vancouver. We're very glad to have you here, and it's been a pleasure
Thank you.
to ask you these questions and get to know you guys more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.